Ano pa yung reporters nila, guys?
Nano, sir. Mag-present ako, sir.
Okay. Sige, okay. Pwede na mag-start.
So, good morning everyone. Na diri ta ato dapit na sa paglast sa rate of return analysis. So, up until this point, we have solved problems with unequal lives with the use of the equivalent worth methods. The analysis of alternatives having unequal lives can also be accomplished by using rate of return methods. When the termination method is used, the incremental analysis procedure described in section 6.4 can be applied directly. When the study period is either indefinitely long or equal to a common multiple of the useful lives. However, computing the incremental cash flows can be quite cumbersome. For example, the implicit study period in example 6.11 is 45 years. In this instance, a more direct approach is useful. In general, the IRR of an increment of capital is the interest rate I that equates the equivalent worth of the higher capital investment cost alternative to the equivalent worth of the lower capital investment cost alternative. The decision rule using this approach is that if I is greater than or equal to the MARR, the increment is justified and the alternative with the higher capital investment cost is preferred. So, when repeatability applies, we simply need to develop the annual worth equation for each alternative over its own useful life and find the interest rate that makes them equal. To demonstrate, consider the alternatives that were analyzed in example 6.8 by using um, MARR of 10% per year and a study period of 12 years. Mani siyang given guys stated above. So, using the annual worth of the alternatives over their respective lives, we get kaninga values. And by trial and error, the IRR of the extra capital needed to repeatedly invest in alternative B over the study period I is 26%. Since this value is greater than the MARR, the increment is justified and alternative B is preferred. This is the same decision arrived in example 6.7. The interested student is encouraged to verify that if the spreadsheet previously displayed in figure 6.10 were to be expanded to include a column of incremental cash flows over the entire 12-year study period, the IRR of these cash flows using the IRR function is indeed 26%. So next slide, please. Next is the imputed market value technique. Obtaining a current estimate from the marketplace for a piece of equipment or another type of asset is preferred procedure in engineering practice when a market value at time t is less than or is required. This approach, however, may not be feasible in some cases. For example, a type of asset may have low turnover in the marketplace and information for recent transactions is not available. Hence, it is sometimes necessary to estimate the market value for an asset without current and representative historical data. The imputed market value technique, which is sometimes called the implied market value, can be used for this purpose as well as for comparison with marketplace values when current data are available. The estimating procedure used The estimating procedure used in the technique is based on logical assumptions about the value of the remaining useful life for an asset. If an imputed market value is needed for a piece of equipment, say at the end of year T, the estimate is calculated on the basis of the sum of two parts as follows. So, kani gamiton nito to siya nga formula where present worth is computed at I equals MARR. The example uses information from example 6.11 to illustrate the technique. So, next slide please. So, muna siya example 6.12. Use the imputed market value technique to develop an estimated market value for pump model HEPS9 or end of year 5. The MARR remains 20% per year. So the solution, the original information from example 6.11 will be used in the solution. Capital investment is $47,600. Useful life is 9 years and the market value is $5,000 at the end of useful life. So first, compute the present worth at end of year 5 of the remaining CR amounts. If i-compute na to, nga, ang MARR is 20%, mo na yung value nga itong makuha, $29,949. Next is we compute the present worth at end of year 5 of the original market value at the end of useful life. So after computing again, this is the present worth, $2,412. Then estimate the market value at end of year 5 as follows. So i-add na to ang duha ka value mo na itong makuha, 32,361. So next slide please. So in summary, utilizing the repeatability assumption for unequal lives among alternatives reduces to the simple rule of comparing alternatives over their useful life using the annual worth method at I equals MARR. This simplification, however, may not apply when a study period selected to be shorter or longer than the common multiple lives is more appropriate for the decision situation. When utilizing the coterminated assumption, cash flows of alternatives need to be adjusted to terminate at the end of the study period. Adjusting these cash flows usually requires estimating the market value of assets at the end of the study period or extending service to the end of the study period through leasing or some other assumption.
Okay. Madungog ra ko. So next is the personal finances. So kaning wait lang sir. Next is personal finances. So kaning in this chapter we focus on facilitating good decisions, good decision making for the perspective of corporation. So ang kaning example din here is all about alternatives. So two of the largest investments you'll ever make involve houses and automobiles. This section presents examples of acquiring these assets, usually with borrowed money. So ang kaning siya kay next ani kay mag gusto sa example kay ang kaning thought read ani nga kaning part sa chapter is all about alternatives. So first is the automobile financing options. So you have this decided to purchase a automobile with hybrid fueled engine and a 6-speed transmission. After the trade-in of your present car, the purchase price of the new automobile is $30,000. This balance can be financed by an auto dealer at 2.9% APR with payments over 48 months. Alternatively, you can get $2,000 discount on a purchase price if you finance the loan balance at an APR of 8.9% over 48 months. Should you accept the 2.9% financing plan or accept the dealer's offer of a $2,000 rebate with 8.9% financing? Both APRs are compounded monthly. So mao ni siya nag-create kog table ang kaning amount nga mao ni siya mga given. So dinhi sa 8.9% nga APR kay kaning si nga ang atong amount dinhi is himog $28 because of the rebate nga $2,000 nga atong giminus sa atong kaning principal amount nga $30,000. So mao ni siya ang bag-o nga kaning mga values nga atong i-tackle ani nga problem. So mao ni siya ang solution. So sa 2.9 financing monthly payment, if ato siyang get ang annual worth niya, mo kwanta mo come up ta og $663 per month, and sa 8.9 paning financing monthly mo come up ta og $694.4 per month. So if atong ibana-bana asa ta maka-save ato ta sa 2.9 ka dollars. So therefore, to minimize your monthly payment, you should know that 29 ay kaning 2.9% financing paning option is way much better sa 8.9% ng APR na nakapay rebate ng $2,000. So next is what if questions. So when shopping for an automobile, you'll find that there are many financing options like ones in this example available to you. You may find it useful to ask yourself questions such as how high would the rebate have to be excuse me, for me to prefer the rebate option, or how low would the APR have to be for me to select the rebate option. So this next slide natay kaning kuan ay how much would the rebate have to be. So atong gilat ini ang X to be the rebate amount. So using the monthly payment of $663 from 2.9% financing option, we can solve for the rebate amount that would yield the same monthly payment. So gigamit na to din, mao ni siya atong equation. So $30,000 minus X times the annual worth with a 8.9% interest divided by 12 months kay compounded monthly magyapon ni siya, and 48 months, which is the number of period, is equal to 663 nga atong gikuha sa 2.9 financing option. And sa come up ta dinhi og kaning 3,266. If ato na siyang i-substitute sa kaning X dinhi, mo come up ay kaning mo kuan siya, mo same gyapon siya ani, mo equal siya ning $663. So king ani siya no pag come up sa kani siyang 3,266. So next is how low would the interest rate have to be? So now that we want to find the interest rate that equates to borrowing of $28, this question is easily solved using the spreadsheet package. So ato sa spreadsheet nato naatay for kaning formula nga rate. So imo rin siyang kuan, which is ang 48 is our number of period. Ang atong 63 is the principal, the interest, and then the $28,000 is our principal. So mo come up na siya og 0.535% per month, with kaning if itong ato na times makuha ta sa annual percentage rate, which is $6.42. 6.42%, sorry. So next is the mortgage financing option. So a general rule of thumb is that your monthly mortgage payment should not exceed $28, 28% of your household's gross income, monthly income. Consider the situation of Jerry and Tracy, who just committed a $300,000 mortgage on their dream home. They have reduced their financing choices to a 30-year conventional mortgage at 6% APR, or a 30-year interest-only mortgage at 6 APR. So kaning conventional mortgage is apil na siya kaning kuan. Apil kaning naa na siya interest imong bayran if nanay interest during ana nga 30-year. Whereas kaning interest only is your kaning ang imo rang gibayaran ani is the interest for some years depende sa contract nimo. So ang natay duha question, which is which mortgage, if either, do they qualify for for if their combined gross income is $70,000. Second one is what is the disadvantage in an interest only mortgage compared to the conventional mortgage? So this is the solution. So letter A, using the general rule of thumb, Cherry and Tracy can afford a monthly mortgage payment of ang kaning 28% kay mao ni siya ang katong giingon nga dili dapat malapas, which is kani atong gi-convert to decimal, which is 0.28, and then ang ilang monthly aning combined monthly income, which is $70,000, i-divide og 12. So mao ni siya ang ilang ma-afford, 1,633. Combine na ang duha, monthly mortgage payment. So the monthly payment for the conventional mortgage, if mo pursue sila atong 30-year plan nila nga conventional mortgage, mo kaning mo come up ta og $1,800, which is dako siya sa ilang kaning anticipating ilang estimated nga ay combined mortgage payment nga 1,633. So for the interest only mortgage nila nga monthly payment, as you can see, ang interest ra ang gi-kuan dinhi, ang gi time sa atong sa para sa principal amount nato. So makakamap ta og 1,500, which is gamay siya, ay sod siya sa ilang budget nga 1,633. So mas better nga option nila is kani interest only mortgage. So next na to is katong unsay mas better. So if home prices fall into the next several years, Jerry and Tracy may have negative equity in their home because no principal has been repaid for their monthly interest only payments. So wala pa na bayad, wala pa nabayaran nga principal amount kay during that time if ilang i-choose ang interest only, ang ila ra gimabayaran sa pila ka years or sa depende silang contract is ang interest ra jud. So pasalay na bayaran nga principal. So they will not have any buffer to fall back on should they have to sell their house for less than they purchased for. It is important to note that interest-only loans don't remain interest-only for the entire loan period. The length of time that interest-only payments may be made is defined in the mortgage contract and can be as short as 5 years or as long as 15 years. After the interest-only period is over, the monthly payment adjusts to include principal and interest. It is calculated to repay the entire loan by the end of the loan period. Suppose Jerry and Tracy's interest-only period was 5 years. After this time, the monthly payment would become. So, annual sad, ang aning nakabantay mo nga ang kaning from 30 years nga kaning plan nila is nahimo og 300 ay kaning 25 years or equivalent to 300 months. Kay kaning giaso man nato nga mana sila og pay sa 5 years. So if ato ni siyang i-solve, maka-come up ta og $1,932.90. So ang kanin sila nga kuan kay mao na ni ilang mabayaran after nila mabayar ay after sa 5 years. So before Jerry and Tracy accept in this type of loan, they should be confident that they will be able to afford $1,932.90 monthly payment in 5 years. So nakasave sila atong 5 years pero again kaning naagyapon sila aning this time mabayad na ang appeal ang kaning kuan ang principal amount ng ilang gi-borrow. So, next is the comparison of two saving plans. Suppose you start a saving plan in which you save $500 each year for 15 years. In the savings plan and make no more annual payments until you reach 65, at which time you withdraw the total accumulated amount. The average annual interest rate you'll earn on this savings plan is 10%. A friend of yours, exactly at your age, from Minnesota State University, waits 10 years to start her savings plan. That is, she is 32 years old. Dito na siya nag-start sa og kaning save. So she decided to save $2,000 each year in an account earning interest at the rate of 10% per year. She will make these annual payments until she is 65 years old, at which time she will withdraw the total accumulated amount. How old will you be when your friend's accumulated savings amount, including interest, exceeds yours? So state any assumptions you think are necessary. So kanin siya is trial and error ni siya nga part. So mao ni siya ang solution and its cash flows. So as you can see, maring dili kaning gigamitan siya og trial and error to determine asa nga age siya nga mo labaw ang iyang friends nga kaning savings is mo labaw with interest sa iyang kaning savings plan. So nilabaw siya at the age of 39 to 40. Nagsugod siya labaw ang friends niya kay nilabaw gikan sa 39 years old. So yeah, mao na siya ang kaning kuan, mao na siya ang cash flow nato, and then the tabulated nga kuan kung asa ang iyang friend kanilabaw sa iyang cash sa iyang kaning savings. Next is the credit card offers. Randy just canceled his credit card with a large bank. A week later, a representative of bank called Randy with an offer of a better credit card that will advance Randy $2,000 when he accepts it. Randy could not refuse the offer and several days later receives a check for $2,000 from the bank. With this money, Randy decides to buy a new computer. At the next billing cycle, or a month later, the $2,000 advance appears as a charge against Randy's account, and the APR is stated to be at 21% compounded monthly. At this point in time, Randy elects to pay the minimum monthly payment of $40 and cuts off the credit card so that he cannot make any additional purchases. So, dati duha ka question. Over what period of time does this payment extend in order to repay the $2,000 principal? Next is if Randy decides to repay all remaining principal after having made 15 monthly payments, how much will he repay? So this is the solution. So sa letter A, you may be surprised to know that the majority of credit card companies determine that minimum monthly payment based on repayment period of 10 years. So the monthly interest rate being charged for Randy's card is 21% divided by 12 kay kung monthly man siya, which is equal to $1.75 ay 1.75% or 0.0175. But we can solve the following equivalence relationship to determine the number of $40 monthly payments required to pay off a loan of principal of $2,000. So, mao ni siya ang kaning gigamit. So, as you can see, natay and din he, which is nawagtangan ta og number of periods, kay wala man gi-specify pila ka number of periods ang giingon. Ang giingon ra sa problem kaning later on kay nakabayad na siya of kaning 5 months sa iyang bayronon. So, to solve the number of periods, kaning makasolve tani sa gamit ang atong spreadsheet nga formula which is N per 1.75% is our interest rate, negative 40. Kaning negative 40 is our interest amount, and then ang kaning 2,000 is our principal. So kaning makakamam siya og 119.86 or atong i-round off og 120. So ang kaning 120 aning mabayad siya og 120 months sa iyang katong debt. So letter B, after having paid off payments remaining. To find the single sum payoff for this loan, we simply have to determine the present worth of the remaining payments. So, dinhi is atong kuan ang present worth niya. So, $40 times present worth with 1.75 percent and then 105 number of periods. So kaning ang iyang mabayaran is sa iyang present worth is $1,915.96. So ang gamay ra jud kay iyang na kaning kuan nabayaran sa iyang principal during sa iyang 15 payments which is 84.06 dollars. So mo na siya. So in summary sa kaning personal finances is kaning aman mag-think ta og better alternatives para makalasta ug maka-benefit ta og maayo. So ano to? Thank you, sir.
Okay, guys. Thank you for the report, Group 3. Okay. So, any questions so far? Wala na ba may questions, guys? Okay, so I assume so since no one answered my questions, you understand the topic, okay? So, next meeting, so Group 4, prepare na mo sa inyong report. And then also, on Saturday, so I will be giving a quiz, okay, from groups 2 and 3 nga report. Okay, so it will be answered in the LMS ra guys. Nga tong quiz, okay? Hello, okay na ta?
Okay.
Noted, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so thank you so much guys for coming with the discussion and also with the meeting. See you next week, okay? So again, group 4, prepare. Yes.
Unsa oras sa Saturday ang exam, sir?
Whole day ra, whole day. Anytime in the day. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So thank you. Wala na questions for N. Okay. So thank you so much guys and goodbye.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you, sir. Bye, sir.
Thank you, sir. Bye.